Ai dat drumul, da?
Da, dar acum este live. Sunt în live și pe Facebook.
Perfect. Păi, dragilor, să începem această încă o seară minunată alături de prietenii noștri de la Atlanticron. Trecem pe engleză. Hello everyone. I'm happy to have psychologist and science fiction writer Florin Purluca with us tonight. Welcome to the world of Atlanticron 2020, Florin.
Hi there, everyone. I'm happy to be here. I salute you all.
Excellent. And the adventure of publishing one of the most prolific and valuable Romanian writers of this decade began about 4 years ago when Florin sent to the Pavcon publishing house the short story whose subject led to this evening's conference. The literary work is called Dust and is an apocalyptic sci-fi. The story is disturbing to tears and presents a future of humanity that neither of us wants, but which, given the social, ecological, and political science, now no longer seems to us to be just pure fiction. We have with us, as always, the publisher Cristian from Century Benchmark Publishing from Atlanta, Georgia.
Hi, everybody.
Christy.
Hello. Great to be here again. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. He will publish Florin's novella in the United States probably next year. Christy's experience will guide us through the tangled threads of tonight's topic, post-apocalyptic literature in the vision of the writer Florin Purluca. My dear ones, I invite you to start now. And I will give you the floor to the writer Florin Purluca to tell us how he came up with the idea of Write Dust. What exactly inspired him? Florin, please.
Hi there, everyone. First of all, thank you for this wonderful opportunity to be here with all of you. Thank you for the question. It's a very good question, because my inspiration source were some classic novels like Wolf and Iron by Gordon R. Dixon, The Road by Cormac McCarthy, The Postman by David Brin, and A Canticle for Leibovitz by Walter Miller. I guess everyone knows and heard about, and I'm sure they're our viewers, most of those books are already on their reading list or already read. So reading all these wonderful series and novels, it came to me the idea to try myself to envision such a series. And first I wrote the short story. The Romanian version appeared in 2014, and after that, in the next year, 2015, after I translated with Claudia Stan, I translated it into English. I sent it out to a magazine that was established in the UK. The magazine was called The Singularity. It was accepted, and I was quite happy to find out. And also the surprise came in the fact that my story, Dust, reached the cover of this magazine, and I have it here. I want to show it. It's an interesting design. I don't know if you can see it quite well, but it made me very happy. My first translated story reached the cover of a foreign magazine. It was wonderful news. Then after that, seeing that it had an impact on my readers, of course, I decided to turn it into a novel. After I wrote the novel, I sent it to Cătălin, who decided to publish it. And here we have the first version of the first volume of the series, Dust. Okay, and I also have here the second novel of the series, Dust, The Touch of the Wild. Okay, I hope you can see it. So, in a few words, what can I say? The story follows the evolution of the life of a child born on the same day. It starts to rain with ash, focusing at the same time in the background on the impact of climate change and psychosocial decline of over the population throughout a period of time, a limitless period of time. The world described is a skeleton of a degrading modern world that demoralizes and produces impressive amounts of negative emotions for survivors. Feelings like rage, fear, or despair evolve rapidly and culminate in terrible acts of homicide. On a particular level, the dystopian setting is obscured by an exaggerated individual perception, the world being seen through the inexperienced eyes of the child Abu. The setting is done progressively throughout the three short novels, starting from Arthur C. Clarke's premises. What science cannot explain becomes magic. In our case, what comes over the capacity of understanding of the individuals becomes a mystical act. The collapse of the information lines between the authorities and the citizens is the vector of chaos, which predominates the atmosphere of the books. Thus, in the first part, in the absence of vital information to explain the unpredictable nature of events, humans are seeing those events as and perpetuate them in a prophetic truth. Often the scenario imagined by people reach the limits of madness or ridicule, reaching also absurd interpretations, following the biblical punitive pattern due to the abandonment of faith, which, respecting the narrative thread of the series, is not plausible. The first novel of the series begins with an everyday scene from the life of the child Abu, out hunting throughout the ruins of a city, atypically from the perspective of reality, but extremely natural in relation to the needs of the imaginary scenario. Along the narrative thread are inserted flashbacks of memories meant to explain the appearance and evolution of the fallen world of ash. Desolated cities, abandoned gas stations, factories in an advanced stage of deterioration, rusty car casings, and other machinery or dead vegetation. At the same time, those fragments that describe the childhood of the main character offer a perspective of the drastic changes in the scheme of psychology of the survivors, both individually and collectively. Over the years, Abu completely loses the members of his primal social circle, his mother, father, and a few relatives, who are either murdered or killed by disease. Later, he meets another group of survivors and decides to leave the hiding place and join them in a search for a better place. In all the three short novels, the idea of timelessness is intentionally given by the lack of a perspective of a precise location of the action, and also by the names of the characters that have global resonance, to give the impression that such a scenario could happen anywhere and anytime. The only exception is the name of the character Abu, but this name, it reaches a point of uniqueness in a hidden key. Abu, in fact, is the translation of the word ash into Indonesian. The mission to find a better place acquires a sense of universality for those who do not want to give up and abandon the fight, and inevitably thus appears the duality, fear and hope, good versus evil. Both sides are represented in a literary way, expressed plastically in an accentuated way in order to brutally impregnate the image of a terrible scenario. In the second part of the series, Dust, Reaching the Wild, Abu and the group and the group of survivors laid the foundation of a small seaside colony, which is later attacked and destroyed by a rival, cannibal group. As in the first novel, the theme of cannibalism draws a serious downward curve in the psychosocial of the survivors of the Grey World, being a clear landmark that monstrously draws the lines between natural and unnatural. The mixture of mysticism and realism continues to be present in the second part of the series, describing extreme situation and primitive social organization in the form of savage tribes. Although the survivors still partially benefit from the wonders of a collapsed world, they are still under the wing of the imminent danger of regression. Also, in the second volume of the series, Abu undergoes a predictable and early transformation, but so necessary in the world after the ashes. The accelerated transition from teenager to adult. The last part of the series, thus Tree Testament, which I'm currently writing, complements the other two by providing a scientific explanation of the unexpected climatic phenomenon. Abu allies with a former scientist hidden inside an old research station, and together they fight to survive against a tribe of savages. The last novel, I hope it will be ready by the end of the year, and this way I can complete the series. Okay, these are a few words about the series, those three novels that complete this post-apocalyptic universe. Besides the fact that the setting is, what can I say, standard as a standard setting, as all post-apocalyptic books are using. The desolated world, the depression of the characters. On a second level, I taking consideration my specialty as a psychologist, I try to develop and explain the psycho component of a post-apocalyptic world of the individual. So, as a conclusion, and not having the expectation to be exhaustive, usually when the stakes are at the end, whether we have an imaginary scenario or even when we talk about real events throughout human history, the idea of an unexpected event emphasizes the importance of the psychosocial component. Whatever described faithfully to reality, or maybe sometimes bombastically, the post-catastrophic evolution of the world and its degrading stages may be due as much to inappropriate human behavior and not just the technical limitation given by context. Although the main enemy is always the triggering act itself, of whatever nature it may be, an earthquake, a nuclear war, an alien invasion, a flood, etc. In most cases, the psychological structure, both individually and collectively, acquires a much more important role in the process of accelerating the decline than the triggering factor itself. Often, the action of the individuals prevent the process of social regeneration throughout bad attitudes such as exaggerated individualism or lack of empathy for the other characters. Although the post-apocalyptic writings are not new, they have existed since, I don't know, biblical times, described in the Old Testament or in the Epic of Gilgamesh even. They continue to fascinate and attract more and more fans to these days. Man's instinctual need to predict the future and those possible dramatic scenarios have transformed a literary artistic current into a global phenomenon, which is in some cases rightly the subject of national security. In the year of grace 2020, as we all live and can tell the facts, more than ever we found ourselves spectators of a critical global scenario. Fortunately for us, not so dramatic as my novel, and I'm very sure that we will find our way out. But we can see how important is the psychosocial component, and how important is our attitude in such extreme situations in some cases. We all know that apocalyptic fears and hopes are nothing new, and currently, according to a study cited by author Phil Torres in his book The End, What Science and Religion Tell Us About the End of the World, about 10% of the global population believes that until the end of their life, they will witness the apocalypse, which to some extent can explain why people are so attracted to this phenomenon of the inevitable end.
Also, what was the percentage? Sorry, I missed the percentage.
10%. 10%.
That believe
about 10%.
that in their lifetime?
Yes, during their lifetime, they believe that they will witness the apocalypse.
Yeah, so we've already taken on these ideas as our norms.
Yes, we've been fascinated by these drastic scenarios since birth, because human behavior, the structure of the human psychology, it needs to have to always have the knowledge of what happens tomorrow. And when we don't have an exact prediction over more than, I don't know, 2, 3, or 4, or 10 years, we are made to make relations and try to understand what's happened to us. We need to find ourselves in a secure place all the time. This is why we tend to predict, always see what it happens.
Right. And trying to be in a mode of, because we're, survivalist, so being able to predict that is part of our understanding and ability to prepare so that we can survive, right?
Yes. Some of us, we prepare in a psychological way. We tend to, I don't know, take comfort in what is going to happen till we reach the end of our life, and others take it more drastically, making plans, very dramatically, schemes of I don't know, post-apocalyptic shelters and stuff like that.
Sure, there's all spaces on that spectrum, right?
Yes. I don't know, since we've been able to construct all kinds of buildings, we always tend to secure our primary group around us. That is a basic need. We all always do that. Okay, what can I say? It turns out that since the beginning of humanity, or at least since we've been writing about it, we've been contemplating to the end of humanity, as we are always talking, just talking about now. From Bible stories to campfire stories, we envision the ultimate destruction of the world as we know it, and what happens in the aftermath. Actually, skipping only a few years here and there, predictions of the end of the world have always occurred for almost every year since 1900, and there are plenty more scheduled for the future. Historically, even various scientists have predicted a number of cataclysmic destruction that would endanger human existence throughout their dates, typically ranging from a comfortable 300,000 years to 22 billion years from now. So we won't be witness of our final end of our total destructions, but I don't know. Let's hope that it will stick to to this 22 billion years date. Also, the media, the TV shows, the documentaries, including broadcast journalism, popular talk shows, and the fictionalized productions have always played an important role in our apocalyptic obsession, adding a twist to the usual plot of following the experiences of survivors. Beginning in 2009, if I'm not wrong, something like that, the History Channel aired 2 seasons in 20 episodes series, where experts speculated on how the Earth would evolve after the demise of humans. With its mandatory opening, Welcome to Earth, Population Zero, it captured the fascination of almost 6 billion viewers, making it the most watched show in the history of the History Channel. From 2011 to 2014, the National Geographic Channel ran a reality show that was called Doomsday Preppers that profiled real survivalists preparing for various scenarios of the end of civilization. Well, while some critics call this show a little absurd in a way and almost exploitative, it was the most and the highest rated, most watched and the highest rated show in the history of National Geographic network, which tells something very interesting about what we were just talking right now, the need to know what is going to happen. Typically, there are a few standard scenarios that vary in intensity over the years. I don't know, the deadly virus, the meteor strike. Well, the deadly virus doesn't seem quite a fantastic, only a fantastic scenario these days, unfortunately. There's also the nuclear devastation after a nuclear war, and the AI riots. These are the most common, and of course there are also the never-ending resources of vampire and zombie craze that seem to attract and fascinate the worldwide public over and over again. Beginning with beginning with the well-known Dracula to more popular show like The Walking Dead that we all know. I don't know. That makes us wonder why these scenarios tend to. Why we need to pursue this devastating scenario always and try to envision them so vividly. In my opinion, as a psychology specialist, I can say that the contemplation of ever-increasing disaster scenario is just a gradual slippery slope from very fictional and necessary to learn behavior. So, from the time we are children, though both direct experience and hypothetical circumstances, we learn cause-effect relationships, and thus how to avoid unpleasant and dangerous consequences. We learn not to play with fire. That's the first thing we all learn, or to avoid wild animals. We learn to anticipate possible consequences and make escape routes in case of emergencies. But in learning this, we also came to understand that there are some things that happen that you can't anticipate. Sometimes life turns out to be harsh. Sometimes disasters happen, and unfortunately, sometimes the world runs amok and all you can do is deal with the aftermath, just face the facts. While in reality we might not share the exuberance of books, we can sometimes fantasize about a simpler world where our true strengths are utilized and appreciated. Our brains are always seeking a solution to what is putting us in dangerous situation and causing anxiety. When no plausible solution is readily available, we can resort to more fantastical scenarios, projecting ourselves into the future worlds where we can be a better version of us, and where we always hope that we will find a way to win the day. These are a few words about the psychosocial component, as I was saying, and it turns out that is always an important factor, because we, in our evolution, we always tend to find our, I don't know, you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I thought, I had the impression that the audio was off.
No, it's okay.
Where was I? Okay, we always tend to find ourselves in comfort zones, try to build a wall, a safe wall around us, and always hope for the best. This was my idea of a post-apocalyptic world, and I hope you came in close connection with my ideas. And if you have any other question, I'm glad to talk and exchange ideas of about catastrophic events, or I don't know, maybe the current events in our lives.
Okay, thank you very much, Florin.
Thank you.
Was a interesting presentation, and I want to ask Christy, is apocalyptic literature read in the US more than other literary genres in this time?
Well, thank you for asking that. I'm not 100% sure what to ask about that, because...
Hello, Patrick.
Yeah.
You are quiet.
Okay.
Okay, now we prepare ourselves for online school, because school's it was supposed to start yesterday, but it's gonna start in August online. So so pretty much is at this point what happens is I don't think that right now the habits in general have changed. So the question I'm looking at is, will from now on be a higher demand of literature in the post-apocalyptic context? Because this is the funny thing. I remember I've seen on Facebook a couple of months ago 2 pictures of the same woman. In one picture, she was wearing a camouflage outfit, armed to the teeth, with grenades and guns and stuff. And under that says, that was me in the apocalypse fighting zombies. Next to that was the same woman dressed in pajamas with a bag of popcorns. Says, this is me actually in the apocalyptic times watching Netflix. So, so because of the actual experience, well, it's a bad thing going on. We all know that, but it's not that bad. You might catch, you might not catch the whole thing. You might die, you might survive. Somebody that you know might die, somebody that you know might survive, whatever. I think at this point, the individual somehow have mitigated their emotions. And here Florin, because he has a background in psychology, can definitely dig deep on that. And I'm sure that for the psychologists, the whole COVID-19 thing is going to create billions of situations for them to study in the future. I'm looking forward to see the studies 5 years from now, the British researchers have reached to this conclusion, blah blah, based on the COVID-19 particular situation happening there. I mean, I'm just willing to see what this study is coming over in the next few years. So the relationship between us as individuals, what happens around us, and the way we approach things would change. So up until now, any kind of apocalypse was the boogeyman. Whoa, that happens, and a meteorite will fall on Earth and just blow up the whole thing. A deadly virus will emerge. The ozone layer will be destroyed, and we're all gonna get, you're gonna be microwaved, everybody, and all kind of. Okay, now we looked into seeing that actually people mentally, they go on in their directions. We see all the 5G movements, the anti-vax movements, and so on. But now that we all had a kind of a demo, hey, this is somewhat a kind of apocalyptic thing we should look like, right? Small scale, limited scenario happening worldwide. We don't die out all at once. You just go buy some groceries, buy some food, buy some water, have a stock for 15 to 30 days. And the thing people missed most was the toilet paper. I mean, show me only one book published in the last 50 years about apocalyptic and post-apocalyptic context where the problem of the toilet paper has been put on the scale.
Well, this would be interesting for future stories.
You see?
Yeah. We had no idea.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if in the 70s or in the 80s, I mean, imagine Mad Max, right? Imagine Mad Max, right? And the guy coming says, hey, where's my toilet paper, right? You're not gonna see that. They have different kind of problems, right? Or somebody that is willing to fight the bad guys and cannot connect to his Facebook page to upload the picture of the villain. I mean, you see, so I'm thinking, how about the post-apocalyptic writing in a humorous thing done based on what we're witnessing around us, right? So my personal feeling is, yes, some kind of post-apocalyptic literature will continue, obviously, but I'm considering the fact that somehow that will be kind of mitigated, kind of taunted in a more humorous, ludicrous way, rather than the grim scenario that we see in Florin's books in Dust. So I don't know. It could be probably an extreme for the disc world, kind of, the post-apocalyptic world. I can see like the planet Earth with a sign saying Earth population 255, something like that. I don't know. But definitely to look from the reader's point of view. Stop doing that. You're not funny. I'm speaking about serious things, about the apocalypse. Okay,
Very serious things like toilet paper and.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, he loves. I mean, he wanted to be part of it because he loves paranormal. He loves Transformers. I mean, it's great for me to see my son, age 8, interested in sci-fi. Right. So when I told him, hey, I'm gonna be online, I'm gonna talk about sci-fi books. Oh, I want to be there. Okay. Can I say no? Okay. Right. So Katarina, to get back to your question, I don't know yet. I haven't seen the reports. I haven't seen the top sellers. I haven't seen a change in that. And honestly, I guess this time people have more time to spend reading, but they spend more time posting on Facebook. So.
Okay. If you allow me, Cristi, the comic aspect, as you underline it, it's also nature of our psychology as a defense mechanism. We always tend to satirize the danger to make us feel more comfortable. I don't know if this is why they bought the toilet paper. Doesn't really seem that way, since they were almost trying to fight in all sorts of Walmarts and whatever. But in a way, we can say that it was hilarious, And the other aspect that you mentioned about the fact that the apocalypse now doesn't seem so, I don't know, dramatic as we see it on books, on TV shows. Yes, that is the true, and that is a good point of view, because we must concentrate on one thing: information. We still have information. Look today, what happens when information is distortion, like fake news or whatever. It makes such a huge impact on all society. Imagine that scenario when they read. I have the Martian attack on radio live.
Oh yeah.
They almost make people believe that this is the aliens, the Martians invaded Earth. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Yet now, if we do have information and we can relate to important information that can put us in a, I don't know, safe situation in some way. We know that the virus has reached to this limit, do that, don't do that, and whatever. But if we cut the information line, I'm sure that it will turn out very badly, because when we don't have a standing point or a clear point of view of the situation, we tend to see the scenario and in a bombastic way and dramatize all around us. We think that the apocalypse has just arrived, yet it didn't arrive these days, because most people try to see this as a dramatic situation, that freedom limitations, but that is not new. History has been through this at least 4 or 5 times. We fought at least 5 plagues till now. So I think that information is a very important point, and that makes us stand our ground as of a social point of view, if I may say, so. Okay, I think I saw another question here, if I'm not wrong. Let me check out, sorry. Okay. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Does anyone?
I have a question for you, Florin.
Yes.
What should we look for in ourselves to deal with dramatic situations?
Yeah, well, we need to look and to make these scenarios, even they are less plausible than we think, because it develops our emotional status in critical situation, and it might seem funny for some, but some countries, they have national security programs for I don't know, things like alien invasion, or they treat it very seriously, because even though at some point, I don't know, a small percentage of the world believe that Martians or whatever kind of species will attack us. We deep in ourselves, we always tend to know everything that is going to happen, and to comfort us in a way by knowing that everything is under control. Okay, if Christy allowed his son to appear on the camera, I must say that I have my duty to call my little daughter, because when she heard that I'll be live on the internet, the first thing she said, "Oh my God, you'll be famous! I want to be part of it." Let me call her. Tanya, can you please come here 1 second? Oh, I'm making you live. Look, Catalin. Okay, let me put you on hold. So say something to the world. Okay.
Bună, Tanya.
Bună.
In English.
Ce faci?
Good. I'm doing very good.
Wonderful. You look amazing.
Thank
Welcome
you.
to the panel.
I'm glad that I'm in the live.
Great.
Wonderful to see you. Great.
A lot of children here this night. It's very it's very alive, this atmosphere, because we are human. We are need children. We are need positive thinking, and this apocalyptic future, it's okay, but only in movies, only in books, not in reality.
Catalin, let me tell you this. Imagine 30 years ago, right? And you would be on the beach or anywhere you want, and you see a nice girl reading a book, and you want to make conversation, and she would tell you this. Oh, it's a sci-fi book. Oh, really? What's it about? Well, it's happening in 2020. It's a deadly virus going all around. People stay in homes, but they still can work because they have a kind of a spooky kind of communication with their computers. I mean, everybody having a computer at home. Can you imagine that? And you'd say, wow, what an imagination.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Right.
So today, if I would describe by the letter what happens today, and I somehow can put it in a time capsule, send it back 30 years, I would be a very successful young writer with a frenzied imagination.
Yeah. And I have a question for you. Can it be a viable topic for Romanian writers who want to publish in the USA?
To be what?
The apocalyptic topic. It's a viable topic for the Romanian writers to publish in USA right now?
I would say it's valid for any kind of a writer to write something apocalyptic. The problem to write for the American public is that you have to craft it to make sense for the American readers, to understand their problems for their point of view. Okay? Because the way I perceive the American society, their challenges, the mindset, the things that really matter for the average Joe are very different that you might think from a different corner of the world. Okay, I have a neighbor just literally across the street, on the other side of the street. They have 4 horses. They have an area where they do riding lessons, and their concern now is about their horses as much about their kids, right? I don't see a Romanian writer living in the 8th floor in a neighborhood in Bucharest where the warm water is shattered this time because of the problems we all know they happen, thinking about having horses and care about the horses.
But I'm sure that there are plenty there that care about their dogs and cats.
I agree, but what I mean is this: if you want to be read by the American readers, you must address their mindset and their concerns. Obviously, there's a huge overlap because as human beings, we all have similar concerns, which makes perfect sense. Okay, but we have different means, we have different environments, different priorities, and different resources.
Yes.
And if you put it very generic, it might work. If you want to make it very specific for your corner of the world, might not be that appealing. If you want to make more sense, I would suggest right now, because that's going to feed you with a lot of ideas, go on Facebook and go on different groups to see how people think or react about reopening the economy. Read their thoughts, read their lines, and see what their concerns are, and extrapolate from those concerns to write on something that at least a significant group of people consider it as a problem. Okay, this is pretty much one of the ideas. Because again, I would say this: disregard the virus thing, because the virus, it's not that deadly. It's a good chance if you take it to survive. I mean, a very good chance to survive. So it's going to pass in a couple of years, more or less. It's going to fade out, and with a occasional burst, but it will fade out. But whatever happens now gives you, as a writer, a tremendous amount of information about applied psychology in a apocalyptic like climate. Make notes. I wouldn't start to write a novel now. Right now, I would just accumulate that
information.
I would copy paste wording, because if you want to make a character in your story look real, look genuine, copy, import the wording and the thinking of a real American living in Georgia concerned about online schooling. Okay?
Yeah,
see how that people
even their thought process,
exactly.
The way that it's kind of like taking yourself and implanting yourself from a psychological and a socio-psychological aspect into a whole nother kind of culture and way of thinking. So it's a nice idea, because when, as an American myself, reading phrases that all of a sudden I really relate to, even if the topic is something that, across the board in different countries and stuff we all think about, then all of a sudden I'm more connected to those characters and I'm more connected to the story. And so it makes a big difference for the reader.
Absolutely. Because and also if you follow the threads in Facebook to see how people reply and give answers and so on, you can have tons of dialogues which are real. Okay, and as an author living in Romania, you might never have that second chance.
Yeah, you could write a very good novel. Yeah,
More. You can write as many as you want, because then you change the context. Imagine it's going to be a hole in the ozone layer, right? And we all have to stay in the house because the moment you get out, you get burnt. Okay.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Just conspiracy, the 5G things, it's Bill Gates, it's whatever you want. I mean, just do the same things.
People more than ever at this moment really want to share their ideas and their thoughts and their feelings, because they've been cooped up for months, working from home. Maybe they haven't had the connection or the social contact. So they just want to share and tell. And so why it's kind of funny that we're all using these social platforms then more about Facebook than we are getting into, the books that have been sitting on our shelves for a few months. It's a real opportunity as a writer to just start gathering all this information and data, exactly. That you'll be able to use. Yeah.
You stack up templates.
You can always talk to people too, like, and connect with them, not just on social media too, but also through other platforms as well. Because sometimes even within the US, as you know, you're living on the East Coast. The East Coast and West Coast are sometimes totally two different places too. So it's good to gather information from all areas if you can.
Yeah, that's a very good point of view, because as humans, we are built as social beings, and we always need to make connections with other people. And this is why the whole work from home situation, stay home situation seems more dramatically than the virus itself, because we always need to express for ourselves, even that puts us in danger. I don't know, maybe there's a dinosaur over the window, but oh my God, I gotta take this picture. Something like that, in a comic way, as Christy said it. Even we put ourselves in danger, we might just to express ourselves, to comfort this need of expression, we tend to do, I don't know, stupid things, unfortunately.
Florin, I would build on that with one point. What's the purpose of writing? Is to entertain the reader. Okay? So if you can be humorous, you can be apocalyptic, you can be very serious, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you want that writer to stay with your book in his hand or her hand before going to sleep, or when flying on the other side of the Atlantic, it doesn't matter, right? If entertainment is funny, make it funny. If entertainment is serious, like in a thriller mode, make it so. If entertainment addresses another need, like learning how to survive, it's a basic fundamental need, the instinct of survival, and you give them some hints, make it so. It really doesn't matter. It's your style as a writer, but in the same time, I would not go on this literature to be too grim, in that it's a serious thing, it's gonna happen. Let me explain you what you should do, because this particular character of mine has survived. That's a very narrow approach. If I would start writing right now a novel about the whole virus thing, I would make it funny. I would make jokes. I would make a character that is completely. I mean, imagine the type of Forrest Gump individual. Okay, so minimum socially I mean, with an intellectual level, minimum socially acceptable, workable, but at the minimum level. Lost in a world that is high tech, connected, with working on different social platforms and different things, and he somehow manages through, and is one of the few survivors. I mean, I would put it like that. I would put it in that even somebody who is minimally intelligent can make it through if with common sense, serenity, not making judgment, and having fun all over the place. Imagine Mr. Bean in a post-apocalyptic world.
And just to add to that, if I can, not only that for maybe sometimes the average Joe, but some people can maybe absolutely thriving, you know. And I like the other idea I wanted to add too, just to add to the pile of thoughts, is what's interesting and sort of ironic to me is that a lot of people who are at work and get up and leave their home and then come back, and they're in that routine. And, you know, when you spend your days at work staring at the computer, wishing you could be home and work from home and get the project done and you know, sit in my pajamas and drink coffee and whatever it is. And then all of a sudden there's a situation where people are doing this and all they want to do is get out of that. And I think that mindset is a little bit interesting. It's like, we have this opportunity to kind of do all those things that you dreamed, finish the to-do list, spend time with family, make your own schedule, work from home in your pajamas. And now everybody just wants to go back, you know, to what they have been trying to get away from the beginning. So this was sort of ironic.
Yeah, it's a good point of view. And about what was Christy saying about the character that is very charismatic and yet not very intelligent. From my point of view as a psychologist, is a combination of two different kind of factors. Under a low, medium IQ and a very high emotional IQ. This combination makes it very attractive, yet not very intelligent, but very charismatic. These characteristics drive us back to what we are talking about, the need to satirize everything to make it more acceptable. The dramatic event make it more acceptable. I don't know. I think we reach our time. Yeah,
yes.
we reach our time. Okay.
Thank you very much, Florin. Thank you very much, Heather. Thank you very much, Cristi.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Heather.
everybody.
Thank you,
It was really
you.
fun, and best of luck with all the literature, and send me any links that you want us to continue to share. I think it's a very interesting topic and one that never gets boring.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Wonderful.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Thank you. Thank
Bye.
you for the
Bye.
audience.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all. Hi there, everybody.